So thank you everyone for coming to our What's Trending in Sex Tech talk. I'm here with Oli Lipski talking about the current trends for 2021. Oli, could you say a few words about yourself just to give people some insight about why you're the perfect person to be doing this talk with me?
Um, the perfect person, eh? Yeah, so I'm Oli Lipski. I am a sex tech writer and researcher, mostly doing freelance in the sex tech space. And I don't know, you chose me. Why am I the perfect person for this?
Because you know about sex tech trends. You're writing for Sex Tech Guide. You're always researching what's happening. You introduced me to actually one of the trends that is in the deck, the sensual side of sexuality. And for me, you're my go-to person to see what's going on in the industry. So I'm very excited to talk with you today. And what we're going to do is basically go through each of the 10 trends, just having a little bit of discussion about why we think it's coming, and what we expect to see in this true or false kind of situation. So let's go jump right in. So now you can see two at one. So the 10th trend that I think is coming is that there's going to still be a focus on long distance sex products. So basically what we saw during COVID is that like people were really searching for long distance products because they were in remote relationships or trying to be kinky with partners or potential partners who were not right in their house. And I think as we can see, like COVID hasn't really disappeared yet. So I think that that's going to keep happening.
Yeah, definitely. And I know that there's the term teledildonics, which basically describes long distance sex products, being able to remote control a toy device from anywhere in the world, pretty much. And there was a patent. You know about the patent, right?
No, actually, I don't.
Yeah, so apparently in 1998 there was a teledildonics patent, and that lasted for 20 years and was only lifted in 2018. So in the past couple of years, I've been reporting on teledildonics and long distance sex products, and I think for the first 2 years there just wasn't much. Like, I think everyone in the industry thought there was going to be this crazy surge of like long distance products, but yeah, like you mentioned, COVID came about last year, and I think only now are people starting to really grapple with this technology and starting to like really enjoy it, because of exactly what you mentioned, long distance relationships. Everyone is virtual now. People are like using technology in new and exciting ways. And even if you're stuck at home with your partner, trying more like kinky and exciting things in the bedroom, so being able to remote control your partner's device while they're wearing it, usually like underwear, like vibrators you can slot into your underwear. Yeah, and I think there's also this drive to make them safer, because a lot of people are quite scared of long distance products being easily hackable.
Yeah, that's my biggest thing about them. I'm like, that just can't be all right. And I don't think people have thought about it, they thought it through, right? Because I feel like because the regulations and the governance of a lot of these products isn't so rigorous, and I don't think everyone's playing by the same rules. It's like people get away with a lot of stuff, and like I feel like the long distance sex toys are really at risk of just like people hacking it, people getting, I don't know, even Internet of Things with with sex toys gives me a little bit of pause.
Yeah, there's definitely been some cases of toys that have been hacked, and companies that have been taken to court because of the lack of privacy and safety on these devices. So there's definitely been this kind of, in the discourse around teledildonics, just trying to like make sure that they're super safe and super like secure. There's actually these people called white hat hackers, who so there's like Internet of Dongs, there's a couple others that basically hack toys for a living to make sure they are safe, to save people from the black hackers, and that's the term, because Yeah, because there are people out there who literally just want to hack your toys. So do be careful. Like if anyone's listening and you're looking for a product, do your research. I know at Sex Tech Guide we constantly report on companies that are being extra careful and being extra safe. So yeah, that's definitely something to bear in mind with like the fact that this is like a really trending part of sex tech.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely blowing up right now. So I think like highlighting the ideas of cybersecurity, highlighting, privacy and being really thorough and detailed in your research, I think is a really important thing that, consumers are going to have to battle, but also the industry is going to have to be more accountable to the safety of its users for sure.
Definitely. Yeah.
Cool. So let's jump to number 9. So I've written this as widespread virtual sex events. And it's kind of this idea of live but digital, and having things like, virtual sex parties, virtual art exhibitions of a sex space. Like there are a lot of things going on in this space that I think were really cool in concept before COVID, but have become almost vital in the same way as teledildonics has during this period of time.
Oh, 100%. And I know from experience personally, like going to events in London that were sex positive, like on a weekly basis, and then suddenly being like subject to your home and just being like, wow, we really have to move stuff online, including sex parties, which is just crazy. Like the whole idea of like Zoom orgies. I think there's a couple phrases. One of them's called zorgies.
Yes.
And did you know that Zoom banned sex parties last year?
No, I
Yeah,
didn't know that.
it got that.
Of course they did.
It got that popular. The zorgies got that popular at the beginning of lockdown that Zoom was like no more. So what came out of that were other platforms. I think one of them is called virtual orgies, to basically host online sex parties. And I know there's so many, I know like for example, Killing Kittens, they host a load of stuff online now, including parties and talks and amazing events. And actually linking to the number 10 trend, long distance sex products, Loveends, the sex tech company Loveends have actually created this like online virtual orgy platform where you can use your Loveends toy long distance and have up to 100 people control it in like a virtual orgy. So you're like in this virtual orgy realm, and like you have like people from all over the world like making your vibrator vibrate, and you can control other people's vibrators. So there's also, I think, in like the camming world, there's also people who use Loveends for putting on shows and like having virtual sex cams online, and events that I was going with that point.
Yeah.
There's some really cool stuff.
That's awesome. I mean, I feel like if you have a platform that's designed specifically for sex parties, then some of the security things we talked about in the first bit, you kind of have built in, right? Like you're not going to get Zoom bombed on a different platform in the middle of your orgy.
My God, I've heard of so many horrific Zoom bombings in like, even in like the sex positive space, where you're talking about something like sexual and sex positive, and then you just have horrible people Zoom bombing with like really grotesque like imagery. Luckily I've never actually been in one of those events, but I've just heard horror stories. So yeah, just like you said, making them extra safe, and like Zoom wasn't safe for a while.
Exactly. It wasn't meant for this. It wasn't meant for, normal people to be doing. It's a business platform, right? So like having it permeate my life was, I'm just like, wait, why is this here? This is not supposed to be here.
Do you have a VR headset?
I don't, and I want to get one, just to do some of the Raspberry Dream Lab stuff. It's just like,
honestly,
I don't really understand VR.
No, neither do I. And I feel like that's something that I really I do want to explore, but it just feels quite inaccessible. I know that there are like relatively well priced VR headsets, but it's like it's quite a big commitment. But there are
Like $300 minimum, I feel.
yeah, they're not cheap. But the Raspberry Dream Labs like events that I used to go to in person because they were hosted in London, and then they got moved online in the virtual world, and I was like, damn, like I know there are ways you can access it and watch it live on YouTube, but just being able to like sit with your headset on and like communicate with other people, like I'm excited for events to become like that. Do you know what I mean? But I'm not I'm not there yet, you know, and I write about this
Me
stuff
neither.
yeah.
So for people who don't know what Raspberry Dream Labs is, can you give a brief explainer?
So what they started out as is because it's quite hard to explain. I know they are launching a platform called Raspberry Dream Land, but Raspberry Dream Labs is I don't really know, to be honest, but they used to host events. I know that they were creating this kind of multi-sensory reality, virtual reality, sensual experience.
Yes.
Which I got to
I understand too.
I got to try pre-COVID as one of their little test bunnies. So you got to like put the headset on, but you also wore this like backpack with vibrators and a smell olfactory technology that you walk around this room and you're kind of met with all of this amazing erotic visual 3D imagery, and you're walking through and you're getting blown with like smells and like vibrations, and then there's an orgy happening there, and you're just like, this is cool. And I think they are still developing that, but I know alongside what that project is, they host events and they're creating platforms in the virtual realm, which is just amazing.
Yeah, I kind of was pulling an asshole move because this is the one area I actually still don't understand. I was like, can you do it better? Because like I spoke with them and I was just like, this feels too cool for me. I feel like I don't really understand. But like the idea of this kind of hybrid in real life event that had virtual elements with like multi-sensory experiences, I think that would be a lot cooler. So I really don't think that this, you know, virtual sex event thing is going to actually stick after COVID goes, because it's just like, you know, I think the sensory elements, that the intangible senses is what makes sex with other people and in other spaces the most interesting.
Definitely.
Maybe I'm off base with that.
I think there's always going to be a desire for it. I think maybe I've definitely seen there has been like a move towards creating these virtual spaces, not just for like sexual experiences, but for like sexual education as well. There's a company called a project called Volvr, VLVR, and they are trying to create this kind of platform where you are using your virtual reality space to actually explore some really cool educational, sex educational information. But yeah, it does seem really futuristic and alien to me, which I'm excited about, because I'm like, oh,
which is exciting.
Yeah, right. But yeah, I don't think it's like maybe exploding right now. And who knows what's going to happen post-COVID? Like, we'll have to wait.
Anything is possible. Anything is possible.
Exactly. But yeah, there's been loads of amazing events over the past year that I'm actually not glad of COVID, but like there's been so many events globally that we've all been able to attend.
Yes.
And
that's true.
That's something that the internet and virtuality like allows for, rather than being, you know, restricted to your local events.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. I mean, I think a world where you can have like multicultural kind of sex discussions or even sex acts, you know, across continents, it's interesting, right?
Yeah, I mean, and even like, the The hackathon
Ah, yeah.
again, for example. We
Yeah,
had
the
like, it was
Touchability Hackathon.
yeah, it was like a global people from all over the world contributing
Yeah.
to this amazing sex tech event, designing toys and products and devices, and hearing from people who just wouldn't have been able to attend if it was set in the real world.
This is true. You're making sense. I stand corrected. I think the education bit and the kind of collaboration bit will stay. I think that's true. I think like for me, the question mark is around the pure pleasure events. But I mean, with virtual events plus teledildonics, like I feel like you can make things a little bit more real, a little bit more, I guess, 4D, if you will.
Yeah, a little bit. It definitely bridges a gap, right? That it creates it a little bit more tangible. I'm just trying to think like what other events or like not even events, but just interactions in the virtual world. I know, like, for example, Field spent the last year creating these kind of like online spaces. It's a dating app for it's a polyamorous positive, kink positive dating app that talks about threesomes a lot. And I know they created like this place called Foreplay. I don't know if you saw that. And it was like this weird blob. You like basically turn into a blob and bounce across the screen, and you can meet other people. And that was one way to like date. And again, it's all very alien, all very futuristic, and not very like, people want the real thing, right? I think that's what we're always going to go back to. But I do like that we're being creative and just trying these things out,
I think the creativity is the coolest part, for sure. I mean, so one of my friends had a digital play party, and it was them and their partner, and then everyone on the screen had their own partners. So it was on Zoom. So this is early days pandemic, and you really saw like a perfect blend where you could have like a more voyeuristic kind of engagement. You had your physical touch, because your partner was right there, and the screen would change to see the different people doing cool stuff, and the moderator would just like basically shift it to when action was happening. And it's like, okay, I can kind of see that being a lot of fun, as like a date night scenario. It's like, let's just do this thing. And I think I hope more stuff like that happens as well, for, not even just for partners, but just for like, I don't know, for voyeurs out there who just want to see some inspiration and, I don't know, enjoy visual sexuality.
Yeah, it's almost taking like chat roulette to like the next level of actually
level.
being a bit more organized and a bit more like, this is what we're here for. And I love that. And I think, we all watch adult content on our computers. Like, this isn't a new thing. It's just about connecting like-minded people, right? Who are interested in similar topics.
And as we both start blushing,
I know, it's getting a little bit hot in here.